Hallo Deutschlerner! In this video you will learn a few more German question words. Today we are examining wie and all of its variations. If you want to know how to use these question words, then this video is for you. Generally speaking, the German question word wie can be translated as how in English. This works for the base form as well as the variations that we'll get to later on in this video. When not combined with anything else, wie will simply be used like the English question word how, when it isn't combined with anything else. For example, wie ist das Wetter heute? How is the weather today? Wie ist das Wetter heute? Wie ist das Wetter heute? Wie findest du den Film? How do you find the film? Or, what do you think of the film? Wie findest du den Film? Wie findest du den Film? Wie sieht dein Zimmer aus? How does your room look? Wie sieht dein Zimmer aus? Wie sieht dein Zimmer aus? Wie kommst du zur Arbeit? How do you get to work? Wie kommst du zur Arbeit? Wie kommst du zur Arbeit? Wie heißt du? What's your name? Wie heißt du? Wie heißt du? English grammar nerd side note. Where is the word how in the last example? If you translate word for word in the last sentence, you get how are you called? This is just so unnatural to any native English speaker that no one would ever say that. You'll notice that I had a similar issue with the second example. I wrote the alternative translation in parentheses, what do you think of the film? This has less to do with the question word wie and more to do with the use of the verb finden and the English translation to find. Unless we're talking about a jury in a courtroom, how do you find the defendant, for example? We generally don't ask people how they find things, but rather, what do they think of something? There are other times when you might translate wie as what in English. For example, wie ist deine Telefonnummer? What is your telephone number? Wie ist deine Telefonnummer? Wie ist deine Telefonnummer? Wie ist der Name? What is the name? Wie ist der Name? Wie ist der Name? Wie ist die Adresse? What is the address? Wie ist die Adresse? Wie ist die Adresse? But why do we need wie in these instances? No, seriously, why? Because I haven't found a satisfactory answer to this question. If you have a better idea than I do, leave a comment down below. I seriously don't know why the Germans use wie in those sentences. When you use wie all on its own like I just did in the last several examples, the use is incredibly limited. You can add almost any adjective or adverb behind it, however, in order to spice things up. This way you can inquire about the degree to which something is that adjective or adverb. In other words, how old, how fast, how often, etc. Here are a few examples of that. Wie alt bist du? How old are you? Wie alt bist du? Wie alt bist du? Wie schnell fährst du? How fast are you driving? Wie schnell fährst du? Wie schnell fährst du? Wie oft trinkst du Wein? How often do you drink wine? Wie oft trinkst du Wein? Wie oft trinkst du Wein? Wie lange bleibst du in Deutschland? How long are you staying in Germany? Wie lange bleibst du in Deutschland? Wie lange bleibst du in Deutschland? Wie spät ist es? How late is it? Wie spät ist es? Wie spät ist es? Wie groß ist dein Haus? How large is your house? Wie groß ist dein Haus? Wie groß ist dein Haus? In addition to being combined with adjectives and adverbs as in the previous examples, wie can also be combined with either viel or viele. This is so common in German that they were once written as one word, wie viel and wie viele. Nowadays, textbooks usually separate these two out and treat them as if they were their own question words. I don't see it as a problem to address these words this way, but there isn't really a difference between the word wie and how it's used with wie viel or wie viele. We just have how much, wie viel, and how many, wie viele. Wie viel is used with collective nouns or nouns that can't be counted. For example, wie viel Geld hast du? How much money do you have? Wie viel Geld hast du? Wie viel Geld hast du? Wait, you can count money. Well, yeah, obviously, but you can't say how many money. Money is a collective noun in both German and English. It isn't a countable noun. Back to my examples. Wie viel Käse hast du im Kühlschrank? How much cheese do you have in the refrigerator? Wie viel Käse hast du im Kühlschrank? Wie viel Käse hast du im Kühlschrank? Wie viel Milch trinkst du täglich? How much milk do you drink daily? Wie viel Milch trinkst du täglich? Wie viel Milch trinkst du täglich? Wie viel Zeit brauchst du für die Arbeit? How much time do you need for the work? Wie viel Zeit brauchst du für die Arbeit? Wie viel Zeit brauchst du für die Arbeit? Wie viel Kaffee trinkt der Polizist jeden Tag? How much coffee does the police officer drink every day? Wie viel Kaffee trinkt der Polizist jeden Tag? Wie viel Kaffee trinkt der Polizist jeden Tag? Wie viel Platz hast du im Koffer? How much room do you have in the suitcase? Wie viel Platz hast du im Koffer? Wie viel Platz hast du im Koffer? You can also use wie viel with a verb directly after it when the noun can be implied. For example, wie viel kostet das? How much does that cost? Wie viel kostet das? Wie viel kostet das? Obviously, the noun that's missing here is money, but we don't say wie viel Geld kostet das. When we talk about kosten, we already know that we're talking about money. Adding Geld to the sentence would be redundant. Wie viel weißt du über dieses Thema? How much do you know about this topic? Wie viel weißt du über dieses Thema? Wie viel weißt du über dieses Thema? Here the implied noun isn't as obvious. I would argue that Information is the missing thing from this sentence, but you could simply use your English knowledge to understand when to use wie viel. You can simply translate it with how much. Another important use of wie viel is when asking about the time. You use the phrase wie viel Uhr ist es? What time is it? Wie viel Uhr ist es? Wie viel Uhr ist es? Again, I translated with what instead of how because there isn't a good way to translate Uhr in this context in English. The closest I can get is how much o'clock is it? You can put in front of wie viel Uhr to ask about the time that something happens. For example, wie viel Uhr fängt der Film an? At what time does the film start? Wie viel Uhr fängt der Film an? Wie viel Uhr fängt der Film an? Wie viel Uhr kommst du rüber? At what time are you coming over? Wie viel Uhr kommst du rüber? Wie viel Uhr kommst du rüber? Wie viel Uhr hat er Zeit? At what time does he have time? Wie viel Uhr hat er Zeit? Wie viel Uhr hat er Zeit? Wie viel Uhr muss ich ihn abholen? At what time do I have to pick him up? Wie viel Uhr muss ich ihn abholen? Wie viel Uhr muss ich ihn abholen? While we're talking about time, it's time to talk about our bonus question word of the day, wann. This is when in English and is used exactly the same way. For example, wann fängt der Film an? When does the film start? Wann fängt der Film an? Wann fängt der Film an? Wann kommst du rüber? When are you coming over? Wann kommst du rüber? Wann kommst du rüber? Wann hat er Zeit? When does he have time? Wann hat er Zeit? Wann hat er Zeit? Wann muss ich ihn abholen? When do I have to pick him up? Wann muss ich ihn abholen? Wann muss ich ihn abholen? So what's the difference between wie viel Uhr and wann? Simple. Wie viel Uhr is asking for a specific time, such as hours and minutes, while wann is asking more generically. Wann can be answered with the day of the week or even a month or a year. If you answer wie viel Uhr with any of those options, you'll get some strange reactions, as this would not be an appropriate answer to the question that they asked. When a noun can be counted and we are asking for the number of them, we use the combination wie viele. This translates as how many in English. For example, wie viele Menschen leben in dieser Stadt? How many people live in this city? Wie viele Menschen leben in dieser Stadt? Wie viele Menschen leben in dieser Stadt? Wie viele Freunde hast du auf Facebook? How many friends do you have on Facebook? Wie viele Freunde hast du auf Facebook? Wie viele Freunde hast du auf Facebook? Wie viele Katzen hat diese Frau? How many cats does this woman have? Wie viele Katzen hat diese Frau? Wie viele Katzen hat diese Frau? Wie viele Kinder spielen auf der Straße? How many children are playing on the street? Wie viele Kinder spielen auf der Straße? Wie viele Kinder spielen auf der Straße? Similar to the way that we used wie viel without having a noun behind it, we can do the same thing with wie viele. This is not nearly as common as wie viel is, used followed by a verb, but it is still doable. In order for us to do that, we need to know what the noun was to begin with. So if we were talking about people in general, and then we wanted to know how many people live in this city, we could say, wie viele leben in dieser Stadt? How many live in this city? We're referring back to Menschen, so we didn't actually put it in the sentence, because we were already talking about them before, and we can just imply it in the sentence. So for instance, if we had a conversation about friends, we could end up saying the sentence, wie viele Freunde hast du auf Facebook, without the word Freunde, and just say, wie viele hast du auf Facebook? How many do you have on Facebook? In order for this to work in German, we do have to know exactly specifically which noun we're referring to. It's not nearly as versatile as wie viel followed by a verb. Now you have a wide variety of uses for the question word wie and its many partners. Try it out in the comments down below and ask your own questions using a few of the options with wie to prove to me that you know what you're doing. If you want to take this relationship to the next level, join my Deutschlerner club where you can get access to extra materials, worksheets, downloads, and a whole lot more for just $9.99 per month. Every time that I upload a lesson like this one, members of my Deutschlerner club get exclusive extras. Check it out via the link in the description. Das ist alles für heute. Danke fürs Zuschauen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss!